I am going to do a reading from chapter 8, entitled Angelus Domini. Late September 1453, Lausanne. On our second day in Lausanne, I left the other 3 members of my party in the early afternoon. Searching for somewhere quiet to write and to sketch, I ventured down the steeply cobbled streets toward the water's edge. Just beyond the city walls, I stopped, letting Periac free to quietly graze near me along the banks of Lac Léman. Spotting an unfenced orchard, I sat down to write, first finding a short flat boulder on which to place my writing instruments, ink and leather pack. With my back against the large rock for support, I opened my journal, wishing to sketch the many notable places from the previous 5 weeks of travel. Periac, too, seemed to benefit from having the break from being ridden at such a great pace. He would occasionally raise his noble head, snorting and craning his neck to search for me, his long mane catching in the breeze. Satisfied that I had not moved, he returned to his peaceful tromping and tearing of the grass covering the banks nearby. From where I sat, I gazed out over the still waters of Lac Léman, the sight of the massive French Alps rising like a mighty bulwark in the distance. With a heavy heart, I reflected upon the life I carried inside me. This little person, I thought to myself, how can I be a mother to them? How am I fit to be their guardian? I know nothing about caring for an infant. What am I to do? I have no family to help me. I'm well afraid of what it will feel like to give birth. Where will I be when it happens? Who will help me if we're traveling? Oh Lord, have mercy on me. I closed my eyes, for the reflection across the water had become incredibly intense and blinding at that particular moment. In the flash of light that carried forth towards me, I saw myself, dressed in an azure gown, a wreath of white roses laid as a crown around my head. Seated upon a throne, my arm was wrapped securely around an infant laying across my lap. The downy-haired child, a little girl, carried in her left hand a tiny orb. In her right hand, she held a miniature scepter. I squinted, curious to find that atop the scepter was a ball, upon which was depicted a sliver of green amidst a sea of blue. On the green island was a hint of white, recalling instantly the White Tower in London. My child was covered around her middle in a golden cloth, draped across the chubby nakedness of her bare legs, its delicately woolly texture like that of a golden fleece. My daughter squirmed, reaching out her hands in what appeared to be the sign of a blessing. As the vision continued, my heart lightened as I recognized the 11 angels who surrounded me. Dressed in gowns of heavenly blue, and each wearing a badge depicting a white heart, I discerned their faces to be those of the young boys from the choir I sang with while in Oxford. With their seraphic expressions mirroring their exquisitely sublime tonality, they joined in a heavenly chorus directed to me and my daughter. Having sung the words many times with the choir, I had come to love the statement of devotion to Mary as the Blessed One among women, the bright star of the sea, as the open waters beyond me revealed that day. In my vision, she appeared as lovely as the lily, her exquisite beauty and perfume like that of the rose. My daughter lay quietly, transfixed in awe at the divine scene in which she was a part. The boy's tender expressions filled my heart with joy. I felt the presence of the Holy Spirit floating on the breath of one boy to another, causing my turbulent thoughts to cease. Their chant soon ended. As quickly as it had come to me, my vision lifted, and I felt again at peace. My concerns about my unborn child and our future together, at least momentarily, erased from my mind.